it was a very exciting time because you're right. We had to go out and find the news. We had to actually go and do our research, which I find no longer is the case, because people, breaking news comes on your mobile phone, it comes via tweet, and it's just announced, and you don't even know whether there is any ground. We were not allowed to put a story in. I started with print journalism.
Yes.
We were not allowed to put a story out till it was thoroughly researched, and at the desk, every line would be scrutinized. My God, every second line would be cut out. Where have you got this information from?
Absolutely.
So I think we learned the hard way.
So many careers, so much pogo sticking, and yet you remain as prolific as ever. There was a 2-decade journalistic career, and now, of course, there's books to write and things to say. Let's start from the beginning. At that point of time, journalism was a very respectable profession, and news, as one of the distinguished news people of the industry said, that at that point of time, खबरें टहला करती थी और रिपोर्टर्स जाकर खबरों को पकड़ के लाते थे, और अब वो खबरें जो हैं वो सिमट के रह गई हैं स्टूडियो के अंदर. You of course belong to the tribe that usually went out and got it must have been a very exciting time at the dawn of journalism, so to speak, in India.
Yes, I think it was. I think it was not only an exciting time, it was also a time for creating a new sense, especially where women were concerned.
Sure.
Because when I started my career, which was from Chandigarh, there were quite a few women, of course, nationally, but in the smaller towns, there were not too many. So I still remember when we would enter the press club, suddenly, 3 or 4 of us women, there would be like pin drop silence, and all the men would look at us as though, ye kahan se aa gayi, that kind of thing. And going out and reporting, it was still unknown phenomena for people that you were talking to, that these women have come, why have they come? And there were strange attitudes that one had to occasionally deal with. But I think it was a very exciting time because you're right, we had to go out and find the news. We had to actually go and do our research, which I find no longer is the case, because people, breaking news comes on your mobile phone, it comes via tweet, and it's just announced, and you don't even know whether there is any ground. We were not allowed to put a story in. I started with print journalism.
Yes.
We were not allowed to put a story out till it was thoroughly researched, and at the desk, every line would be scrutinized. My God, every second line would be cut out. Where have you got this information from?
Absolutely.
So I think we learned the hard way, but it was a wonderful way to learn. And even when I went into television with NDTV is where I started, and then worked on TV Today, then had my own production house, even ran a television channel. These were very exciting times because everything we did was also new. There were no 24/7 channels at that time.
And the buzz and the tingle in the fingertips, I still remember, because transitioning from one art form, so to speak, to the other, from only writing and sitting down and thinking because it would only be published the next day, to actually being, at the forefront of breaking it. And yet, I think, I truly believe that information is passive, which is why we are bombarded with it in today's day and age with such intensity. But knowledge is active because knowledge has to be gained.
Yes.
And I think the dignity of information was very much alive at the time when you were processing that information and passing out that knowledge to people.
Yes, and I think I always had the good fortune of working with very hard taskmasters, both when in my print career, later on in even the television career, because people would want us to produce our best.
Yes.
Even though there was not a proliferation, the competition may not have been as intense, but somehow we all had a sense that we were doing something important. And so preparation was deep. And very often for one story, we would traverse the whole of India, collecting little bits here, there, and all that. And or even abroad, we were sent abroad as well. I didn't personally go, but at NDTV, a lot of my colleagues used to go.
Sure.
So I think we had a sense of what we were creating was very important, or what we were presenting to the people was very important.
And I still remember the aspirational value of it, because at that point of time there was Upper Menon down at NDTV. There was SP Singh who was saying, "Ye thi khabre aaj tak intezar kijiye kal tak."
And I was lucky to have worked with both, you know. So it was really nice because at SP Singh was doing the evening. There was no TV Today at that time. There was only a morning program which I used to anchor called Good Morning Today.
Yes.
And there was an evening show which used to say Aaj Tak, which SP Singh used to do. So it's great to have worked with names like that. And they were so, they were mentors. They were mentors, and they were also people who were able to guide a whole generation of people to come up. So it was very exciting.
If you've enjoyed this podcast, subscribe to our channel now. We have a new episode out every Friday.